Chelsea 3, Cardiff 1. Chelsea secure their place in the Carabao Cup semi-final. But look, I'll be honest with you, the scoreline, look, Chelsea were the better team over the course of 90 minutes. They had the better players. They took their chances. But the scoreline maybe feels a little horrible on Cardiff City, who are a League One side, who gave a very, very credible and very, very staunch display of themselves tonight, and I think can walk away from this very, very proud indeed. And for me, when it comes to Chelsea, Maresca can't be rotating. I think we've actually learned. I think we've learned when you look at the Leeds game as an example. You look at that first half performance tonight. This isn't the Conference League. This is the Premier League. This is the Carabao Cup. This is the Champions League that Chelsea are in. And when you start to rotate this squad, and it was, that's 11 changes. There were a handful of first-team players or first-team squad players and, you know, tossing players a lot of games. As an example, Badiashile, Caicedo, Gittens have started many Premier League games. There's kind of 4 players in there regularly in and around the Premier League team. But you just saw a level tonight that they weren't able to get up to. They weren't able to match the work rate and the intensity of Cardiff. Of course, the substitutions made a huge difference. João Pedro, Garnacho with a brace. And then, of course, having Neto come on late, well, not that late, 66th minute of the game as well, to give them that extra impetus. And Chelsea, I thought Chelsea were always going to win this game when you looked at that bench. That's why you have that safety net there in those games. Had they had a bench tonight like Liverpool did in the last round, it would have been curtains. It would have been sayonara. It would have been Alvida same pet. But look, they got the job done. They're in the semi-finals now. My message to Maresca is don't rest your best players for that semi-final, irrespective of who you get. Don't rest your best players as best you can now for the remainder of the Premier League, and certainly don't rotate for any of your Champions League games, because they may just let you down. But as ever, look, I want your thoughts. I want your opinions on this in the comment section below. And listen, there'll be some Chelsea fans that don't like what I'm saying, but I believe I'm speaking facts. And I know that the Chelsea hardcores who have followed the Football Terrace for many, many years, DR's one of them here that says embarrassing. And I understand why a Chelsea fan would feel that way this evening. I do. Tosin is the worst centre-back. Listen, Tosin is not a great centre-back, there's no doubt. But, I mean, Gusto is at fault for the equaliser. This wasn't just him tonight, but the overall levels in that first half from Chelsea were very, very poor, in my humble opinion. Were very, very poor. The intensity levels, all players, even you can see, listen, I think Caicedo is a tremendous player, but even Caicedo with 2 or 3 loose balls at the back, and it's almost, you know, when someone yawns, it makes you yawn. It was almost like the yawn effect. I'm coining that phrase, the yawn effect. It was just really, really poor. And I think if you look at games recently when there's been rotation in the Chelsea team, in fact, quite a few of the Carabao Cup games, Chelsea have hung on at times when they've rotated. And for me, there's an always, you're in the semis now. It's I assume that the semi-final is still double-legged, but 2 games to get into the final, chance of winning a trophy, no more rotation, no more heavy rotation is probably a better way to phrase that. Chelsea fan, but I'm disappointed. We should have enough quality to win, even with a rotated squad. I'd still sign Rodrigo when he was mentioned. We need a centre back too. Happy we are through, though. Of course, be happy you're through. Absolutely. But I think for me, you know, forget my club at this moment in time. I think back to when my team was much better. When you rotate quite heavily for a cup game against a Championship, a League One, a League Two team, what I'm always looking for is a side that can handle itself. I'm looking for a side that can deliver. I'm looking for a side that's capable of winning that game well. If they can't, it's normally an indicator that a large percentage of that starting 11 are just not of the standard, unless they have the regulars around them to carry them. Personally, I'm not embarrassed. Cardiff gave us a good game. Yeah, it's fair to not be embarrassed as well. I understand why people would be embarrassed if that's the way they're feeling. Some people won't be. I think for me, I remember a few of these games. I remember us getting knocked out. Forget this year against Grimsby. We're not a very good squad. I remember having a very good squad, but rotating and getting knocked out. And often what my view was that this guy is proving today he's not at the standard. This guy didn't step up. And I think there was another chance today for the Guius, for the Tariq Georges. I mean, Gittens especially would be a player that stands out in that regard. I'm seeing a lot of people going in for tossing, but yeah, I feel there's more than just that. Grey Wolf did it. He says Cardiff was the best lower league performance I've seen against Chelsea. I felt Chelsea actually had to play well to get it today. Do you know what? I wouldn't say it's the best. I think the best lower league game I've ever seen against you. I want to say it wasn't Bradford. It was Bradford. I swear it was Bradford a few years ago at Stamford Bridge. I thought that was amazing. But they play very, very nice football. There's no doubt about that, my friend. They certainly do. I carry boats and the logs. Here is back with us and says, I think the biggest thing is people can't comprehend. We can be happy and disappointed at the same time. I feel our rotation squad would struggle to get in Villa's starting 11. Mate, that's just, listen, it's such a grown-up comment, such a grown-up and educated and fair comment there. And I think that it is fair to feel that way. You know, you'd equally being disappointed and annoyed or worried doesn't mean you need to change everything. It's very fair to go, I just think that some of these squad players aren't good enough. You know, I think that's absolutely fair. And you can feel 2 or 3 emotions at the same time. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm still feeling emotional in so many different ways from last night in United's game. And it's, you know, I've had these nights as well. I remember under Fergie, I'm not forgetting now the crap years. I remember under Fergie when we drew with Burton Albion. But honestly, there was just a level of, there was an annoyance on drawing. But then there's also this, it depends on what kind of football fan you are. Do you know what football fans I do despise? I don't think that, maybe it's because I believe in, do you know one thing about tennis I love? You know when somebody hits a ball and it hits the net, and it falls over the opposite side and they get the point and it's fluky. I love how tennis players put their hands up and almost apologize. One thing I don't like in football is, you know, when you score something that's really lucky and then people celebrate it, but then they act like it was intentional and there's like no shame. And I feel like when you beat a team like Cardiff, who are so much lower down the pecking order, the only thing that I'd be embarrassed about in this is if you don't pay homage to how good they were for such a lower level team. That's where I feel it becomes a bit icky to me, you know. But that's just me. I'm not talking about Chelsea specifically. I'm talking in general here. Our deluded Chelsea fans, fan base were angry when we signed Garnacho. I was delighted. I think it's a snip. Fair play to Cardiff. Hope you're good, mate. Long time no see, Kieran. Look, I'm not. Everyone knows I'm not someone who dislikes Alejandro Garnacho. Do I think he's going to be world-class? Do I think he's going to be one of the best players in the world? No. Do I think that he could be a good player for Chelsea's squad? I know tonight you're playing against a lower-level side, but he had to come on and deliver. And what I'd be more concerned about as a Chelsea fan tonight is the Tariq Georges, the Guius, the Gittens of this world looked nowhere near changing that game. And had you not have had the bench you had tonight, I think you go out. I really do. Chelsea looked poor. Cardiff did give them a run for their money. My Bermudan star Nathan Trott in goal made a few crucial saves to keep the Welsh side alive before they equalised. But he was very good. I thought he was going to give a penalty away at one point to Garnacho. He got his timings right. He pulled off a couple of brilliant saves. The shot from Buendanotte that he picked out. I would have loved to have seen Neto's shot had it not deflected slightly. Could have still gone in because there was a lot of power on it. But I'd love to have seen him have a real chance of trying to save that. He had a very good night and did himself proud, very, very proud tonight. Very, very proud tonight. Thank you very much here to I Perez Dave for the super chat. You didn't say anything, but I do obviously appreciate the chat, the super chat. But as I said before, as I said already, by the way, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Maresca cannot rotate. That's my biggest takeaway. Chelsea beating Cardiff. it won't be remembered by Chelsea fans in 2 weeks' time, let alone by the end of the season. But one thing tonight showed to me, one thing tonight demonstrated to me, is that if Enzo Maresca rotates too heavily, the quality in Chelsea's side drops. That isn't a dig. That isn't me being salty. It's me being honest. I think there's a message in there as well to the board. And I think he's messaged in the last few days. I'm not a big fan of conversations being made public. I'm not a big fan, internal conversation being made public, dirty linen being aired publicly. Not a fan of that. So I'm not going to suddenly pretend that I am. But I understand where he's coming from. There are some players in this Chelsea squad who I rate massively. Caicedo that played tonight, Cucurella, we know how brilliant he can be. I think Cole Palmer is amazing. I think young Esteval has got talent for days. Reece James, I believe he's one of a handful of players I've seen in the last 2 decades who is world-class in 2 separate positions. You know, I'm not a big fan of Rob Sanchez, but I think he's actually had a very good season. And I'll always give people credit where it's due. But when Chelsea start to rotate, and you look at tonight's team, and Caicedo's a first teamer, I get why he played tonight after missing 3 games. Santos is what I call a first team squad player. And what I mean by that is in the squad, but regularly gets into the first team, comes on as a sub. Okay. You have Tosin and Badiashile that are in that same ilk. And then you have Gittens. You've got those 4 or 5 players. I wouldn't, Achapong, I'm not going to I know he's had a few first team appearances, but he's a youngster. I didn't feel that Santos, Badiashile, Tosin, or Gittens did themselves any favours tonight. And Santos is really young, so I'm not going to judge him. I know he got himself an assist tonight. I think he improved as the better players came on, which tells me good member of your squad, could develop, but you need to play him when your Caicedos, your Enzos, your Reece Jameses, Cucurellas, Netos, etc., Pedros, when they're on the pitch, he can be there. When that team was weaker, where, for instance, he's got Tosin and Josh Ashington behind him, when he's got George and Buendanotte ahead of him on that right-hand side, he isn't good enough yet to carry that off as many of the other players would. Gittens is a player that I loved watching play. I watched him play, 20, 30 games for Dortmund and loved his dribbling. That's one thing I thought he was going to bring to the Premier League, bring to Chelsea, and that hasn't been there. Guiu, I know Chelsea fans keep asking for a figurehead up front and not to play João Pedro there. I just don't think he's very good. I don't think he's very good. And you saw the levels tonight. You saw the levels of Chelsea in that first half with that team. And what Maresca cannot do, and I'll reiterate this again, no salt, no nastiness. I don't know when this season now. I don't know what games you're going to have. Maybe if you draw, I don't know who you've got in the FA Cup. You guys can probably tell me. If you've got an easy draw, if you've got an easy game in the FA Cup, maybe some heavy rotation in that game. Maybe if you qualify in the top, maybe if you don't need to play a strong team for your last Champions League game because you got Charlton away. Where are Charlton now? They're in League One as well, right? I think Charlton are in League One because they played Leyton Orient the other day. No, they're in the Championship. They're in the Championship. So the Championship. So you mid-table, lower level, lower championship team, you might be okay again to rotate a bit in that. But your semi-final with this competition, your proper Champions League games and your Premier League games, you can't be heavily rotating like you did at Leeds. And that weren't even to this level. They're not there. They're not ready. You'll get knocked out of competitions. You'll lose too many points in the Premier League. And the board have got to look at this, and whether you can flip some of these players, loan them out, flip them and make some profit. Enzo Maresca and Chelsea Football Club, and more importantly, the fans of Chelsea need better players in those areas. Okay. Now, what you get is there'll be comments that will come through from people like this one I'm going to put up on the screen now, which is Grimsby lack of awareness. Now, my football club being crap, Man United being abysmal, does not discredit what I'm saying here about Chelsea. The only way that would make any sense is if I was using Man United as the barometer and I was measuring you against us and talking about how much better we were than you. That is a ridiculous deflection technique. What I'm talking about here is football, my friend. What I'm talking about here is how Chelsea win things this year. Because you can win the Carabao Cup. You're good enough to. You can win the FA Cup. I still think Chelsea could win the Champions League. The league title, no, because of the squad. League titles are not won by starting 11s. They're won by squads because of injury, and rotation is going to be needed. Okay, but cup competitions now, my message to Maresca is don't rotate heavily, and you've got a chance of winning them. It's as simple and as straightforward as that to me. What I will say is the substitutions that came on, I give them some credit. Now, a lot of people, you'll get the childish banter of they found their level and all that crap. I'm not going to play those games. I'm not going to play them because the Garnachos and the João Pedros and Netos, they had to come on and they had to take it seriously. They had to come on and inject some intensity. And intensity and work rate have probably in the last decade become two of the most underappreciated facets and attributes of a football team. And I think the reason for that is because people, I think too many people think that everything's about ability, touch, technique, and of course they play an integral part of the game. But with a lack of intensity, with a lack of work rate, you can come out second best to professional teams that play a level 2 or 3 below you. And I think when Garnacho came on, when Pedro came on, and a little bit later in the game, Neto, you saw that intensity. For the first time in the game, you pinned Cardiff back. And the first goal that came, yes, there is the knee-jerk reaction to say, oh, the young lad at the back, he plays a bad pass, he was unlucky. You know, Chelsea got lucky because there was a mistake. But that mistake for me happened because Chelsea were applying the pressure. They were pinning them back for large parts of the game. So I want to say it was Lawler that made that mistake. But it stems after heavy pressure for 10 minutes as an example. Then you couldn't kill the game off, and there was a setback. It was a really well-worked goal, a brilliant cross, and a wonderful header. And I think Gusto does deserve a fair amount of criticism for the goal because he lets his man just run past him. He burst into the box like peak Frank Lampard and scores a brilliant diving header. But again, these Chelsea players on the pitch had to respond to that because then you're staring down the barrel. You've got 10 minutes to go. You're staring down the barrel and you think, wow, you know, if you do get knocked out after leading against a League One team, you know what the headlines are going to say. The manager's going to be in a lot of trouble. The fans are going to be disappointed. And again, Chelsea just kept themselves composed. It only took them 7 minutes after the goal went in. There was an injury as well, actually. So in terms of ball being in play, it was only a couple of minutes. Got the ball up the other end, and then again the star quality of Neto shines through. Bang, and a goal. And then late, when Cardiff are really going for it, Cardiff are really pushing for it. Garnacho with his second of the game. Very good goals from him. Very good finishes from him. Very clinical from him. And Chelsea are now in that semi-final. So the good thing is, as frustrating as Chelsea fans might feel with the performance, you can brush yourself down. You live to fight another day, as they say. You can brush yourself down, wipe your mouths, and know you're in the semis. Don't know who you're going to get yet. Let's wait and see. It could be Newcastle, could be City, could be Arsenal, could be Crystal Palace. Is that who Arsenal playing? Crystal Palace next week? There's some really tough teams remaining in it. But there's an opportunity now of Chelsea's first domestic trophy in 7 years to come back to Stamford Bridge. I'll end it by saying what I started on. Maresca, do not rotate. Go for the trophy. Go for the W, because your first team and your first team fringe, like sort of your first 13, 14, 15 players can win you it. You start going deeper than that, and it could be big trouble. But as ever, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Well done to Chelsea subs, more so than anything, coming on and getting the job done. And a big commiseration to Cardiff City. A few super chats here before I bring Quest and Winter Surfer on. Respect to Cardiff. Well done, lads. Yeah, fair play. Now, they do deserve a lot of respect tonight, I think. I carry boats here. Says, I totally agree. Tactically, he's great, but rotation, he messes up a lot. I'd invest in our bench, centre-backs and mid. Well, the commentator said something early in the game, which I do think is worth considering when it comes to Maresca tonight. And that is I think also what happens is the sports scientists come in and this player's red zone, that player's red zone, this player's red zoned. They've got to be rested. So there is an element of that they have to listen to. So you do have to rotate. The problem is that it's just been too many games, I think, where you see the levels drop. And the one thing I would blame Maresca for is, do you guys not have any other options other than tossing? Can I just say, I fucking love your channel. As a Chelsea fan, I honestly feel unless we invest in the winter, we play sixth. Call me crazy, but I stand on it. I do think you're a little bit crazy. And I say that because I don't think you'll come sixth. I still think you'll make the top four. You know, and I got a lot of Chelsea fans had a pop at me today because they didn't like straight facts. I wasn't really digging Chelsea out. I was more digging David out for not having an opinion. And if you go back and watch the show, to paraphrase it, some of the boys were agreeing with Maresca that the more investment in high quality experienced players is needed, which I don't actually disagree with. And most Chelsea fans don't disagree with it when they're being honest, if they want to get over the line. And David was saying, yeah, are we writing off the Delaps and the Gittens and the Estevals and the Garnachos already, Pedros? I quite rate Garnacho. I think he could be a good player for them. I really like Gittens and still think if he can find a bit of confidence and a bit of authority on the pitch as a player, I think Esteval's going to be a star. So I don't write the players off for the future, but I think you've got to get the balance right with potential and here and now. But the bit that was frustrating, it wasn't about grilling Chelsea. It was about him saying, well, I think they could get to the highest level. So, yeah, but which ones do you think will? And all he kept on answering with was, well, they can, though, but they might not. I'm like, yeah, I get that. We all know they might make it or they might not make it, but what do you think will happen? And he wouldn't give an opinion. So I know most of the Chelsea fans can differentiate between me pressing him for an answer and me saying Chelsea players are shit. If you took that as me saying they're all crap, my honest opinion is, please get off Minecraft and touch some grass, bruv. Get off Minecraft. Stop watching, what's it called? What's that weird cartoon stuff KJ watches called? Anime, and touch some grass. Caicedo showed again why he's the best midfielder in English football. Big up yourself. Big up yourself, bruv. Maresca gave some of the guys crying for game time and they failed to impress. He is doing a fantastic job considering the squad he has been given. Yeah, some of them really let up today. Really, really let up today. As a Cardiff fan, this is from Tommy, we made Chelsea work till the end, did well to get back into the game. Brian Barry Murphy plays an attractive brand of football, could get us back into the Premier League. Watch this space. He could, listen, he certainly could. And I like how he plays. There's a lot of teams now, if you go to League One, that play. I follow League One to a certain point because Leyton Orient are there. My brother supports them. So I like to keep up to date with what they're doing. Leyton Orient play a very attractive brand of football, the best I've ever seen them play football in my lifetime. The issue that you have, and this is for all teams at this level, and it isn't to put a dampener on it, is when you get sometimes the League One teams go to the Championship and it happens. Sometimes Championship teams go up like Ipswich last year and it happens. It looks like it's going to happen to Burnley again this year. You just don't have the quality to play that way. That's the only... I get having a philosophy, and if you've got money to invest and you've got a good squad, that can get you from League 2 to League 1 into the Championship. It's that next step up. And then when you come into the Prem, unless you kind of do what Sunderland did and you go out and get really good technical players that are big, strong and powerful, that's the where you've got to get the balance right, I think. But in the meantime, yeah, very, very nice football. Very, very confident team. And listen, you're not going to be playing sides with the quality, speed and power of Chelsea every single week. So fair play to you. We're going to bring the boys on now to have their say on the show. It's my last show, by the way, everybody. My last Football Terrace show as a man in his 30s tonight. So from tomorrow morning, 40 years old. It's the last one. So Quest and Winter Surfer, they have the honour of being the last two people to work with me in my 30s. I mean, I bet they never thought they'd get to put that on their CV. Do you know what I mean? It's a big thing. Let's bring the boys on. Welcome back. Oh, what have I done here? I've clicked on the wrong stuff. Hang on. There we go. Welcome back, gents. How are you both?
Happy birthday for tomorrow, first of all, Terrell. So,
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.
yeah, so it's all good.
Appreciate it. What did you make of the mighty Chelsea tonight?
Well, first of all, we're through. That's what matters.
Yeah.
I always judge cup competitions different. Obviously, progression's obviously the best when you get through, but don't make 11 changes to the semi-final, please. I don't want 11 changes to the semi-final. If you didn't, I don't know if Chris agrees, if you didn't know the two teams, the difference between the league positions, you wouldn't know that you probably thought that first half, especially that both teams played in League One, the way that we played. I don't know how many times I saw a Chelsea player start to dribble the ball and get into a good position, but then take the extra touch or over dribble it, especially in the first half, and then give away the ball. It was absolutely horrendous. And you're right, everyone goes, "Oh, Maresca's not managing the squad well. We should give these players chances," but they keep letting him down.
Yeah,
they keep putting in poor performances, and then you start to wonder why he doesn't rotate or play some of these players, because you would have thought if they're knocking at the door and they're professionals, they want to play every game, put in a very good performance, especially against a League One side. I mean, let's face it. I don't know. I think we struggled to score, but they don't give us the first goal. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't really see us doing that much until they actually gave it. They were their own downfall today, in terms of like they did the Russell. I like sort of the Russell Martin style of play where they just play out the back no matter what. And yeah, I mean, there were good finishes from Garnacho and stuff like that. Great finish by Neto, but yeah, that was like, I think from that starting lineup, I could only really give credit to Caicedo and Achimpong as having good performances, not great performances, but barely good. And I think it just demonstrates that those people have arguments about how good this squad is. Overall, it's a very average squad put together.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why I know Quest and I have never said we're in a title race, because I don't think we believe the squad is good enough to handle a title race quality-wise. And, but we're through, right? We're through. We're a cup team anyway. I think overall we're through. You wouldn't know it, but we are through. But please, no 11 changes. I don't care what the next game is after the first leg of the semi-final. I couldn't care less. But you cannot. I want to win this competition because we haven't won a domestic trophy in 8 years, and that's embarrassing for this club. I need to win a trophy. Win this trophy first of all. Hopefully, Brentford and Fulham do jobs tomorrow. I really couldn't care, but just get it done. But some of them performances, like we big up, like I thought Santos played better in the second half, but overall I didn't think he had a very good game. Gittens is just not very good. As the George on the right hand side is not very good either. I know he's 19 and stuff like that. Gugu up front. I'm not going to call him great. It's just honestly just not good enough. But we're through and we roll on. There has to be the main players back. Obviously there will be for Saturday lunchtime. But yeah, it was just big up to Cardiff. They made us play to their level. And that was the most embarrassing thing, especially for the first 60 minutes. Yeah. They made us play to their level, and that was embarrassing. And I'm not going to pick out like certain one player over anything. I thought most of them were average at best tonight, if I'm being kind. Average.
Yeah, I mean, this is why, I'll be honest with you, bro. This is why when certain Chelsea fans have sat on my platforms recently and said you have the second best attacking depth in the league and the second best squad in the league and one of the best squads in Europe, it's the Leeds games and it's the nights like tonight where, listen, I understand that there's no Palmer tonight, there's no Esteval tonight, as an example, but that's your first. They're like your starters and maybe your first sub on. You start going below. You start going below that into the actual squad. It struggled against the League One team. That's why I've always pushed back against that. Doesn't mean I think you've got a crap squad, but yeah, always a massive claim. Quest, what do you make of tonight? We had a mixture in the comments tonight from Chelsea fans. Some saying they feel embarrassed, others few we're through, others a little bit more in between. How are you feeling with the performance tonight, and of course putting yourself into a really good position now to win a trophy?
I feel good. I'm not gonna lie, I feel good, man. It's another semi-final, so at the end of the day, that's just what it boils down to. In the same way, if you were a title pushing team and you were looking for points, sometimes it doesn't really matter how you won the game. If you won the game, it's 3 points, so you take it and you move on. for me, it's also what Chelsea do. We get into semi-finals, we get into finals. That's just the Chelsea way. So I'm fine with it. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was moments. I wouldn't even say moments. It was more that there were people that were frustrating me during this game. So from you know my starts from the summer, Terry. Yeah, I sat here from the summer and said about Gittens. I said from the Leverkusen game, that guy is not it. And again, he's proved he's not it. Now, I was watching a certain Chelsea stream with a couple of Chelsea fan channels the other day where they were cooking Garnacho. And I said, I'm going to wait and I'm going to buy my time. And again, I'm being proved right. Because that's the exact same finish the other day that he skied over the bar that he didn't pass to João Pedro. And my thing was, terrible miss. Probably should pass it. But also, every winger takes that chance in that position. Today, he capitalized twice with two very good finishes. My thing is, if you put Garnacho in those positions, in the right position where he doesn't have to think, he just got to score, he usually scores. So I'm really pleased with that because I think it's just proving that we made the right decision in buying Garnacho. We probably could have got a better winger, but with the policy that these owners are going with, it's not going to happen that way. So for me, that's what I'm most pleased about. People can say Cardiff, but the other thing is, what's the equalizer is, first of all, you've made 11 changes. Now, even if you make 11 changes and you still got 5 or 6 quote-unquote first-team players, you're making 11 changes all at once. That's always going to make a big difference. But the biggest issue for me was that Cardiff played their game. So I don't think it was embarrassing that we looked bad against them because they're top of League One. If we're talking about a middle-of-the-rung League One side and we look like that, I'd maybe be like, oh, this is nasty. I just think we weren't good. Cardiff were good and we weren't good. It wasn't like they bullied us, like patted us, peppered us. We just were not good. And I can see like why we weren't good because I'm looking at some of these players, your Gittens, Santos had a really poor first half. I keep going on about Tosin that it's the way he takes his touches and plays the ball that actually makes the play too slow coming out of the back. But I'm not going to kill him today because I don't think he was really bad at all. Josh did okay. He had a couple of here and go moments where you're thinking, oh, and Giu looked like he was 19 today. So I understand how this performance came about. But what I love, because I think we just need to, today is just a positive thing. What we just need to focus on is Maresca made 11 changes and ultimately had us playing a different style of football today. He didn't try to force it, keep coming out the back. When he saw the chances to go long and go in behind, he sent it in behind for the long runs. The issue was people not making runs in behind. That's our biggest issue with our strikers and wingers right now. But again, switch the style of play. We carried on going and going and going, carried on putting the pressure on, and eventually the pressure caused them to make a mistake. Took the chance, conceded a terrible goal, but that's Gusto. He's not the greatest defender when he's at fullback, let alone centre-back. And why Badiashile was out there, I don't know, but I'm going to let him off today. But then we got the goal back to make it 2-1, and then made it 3-1. For me, professional performance, sometimes you're going to concede. If we don't concede and we win it 1-0 or 2-0, maybe you're still a bit upset about the performance, but at the end of the day, we got through. It's a cup. That's what you got to do. When it comes to cups, you just get through. So I'm actually really pleased with Maresca, and I'm not believing in all of this stuff going around the club that he did all this to send the message to the. Nah, listen, you don't hire Joe Shields and Maresca and have all your academy playing right down through the ranks, playing the Maresca way if you're going to sack a man in 1.5 seasons. It's not happening. There's just a bit of tension. It'll work itself out, and if we win a cup final, you'll see all of this is going to go away. So for me, professional, through, happy, but Gittens gone. I'll stand on that. Give me another winger, man. I need that expeditiously.
Cheers. Listen, mate, it's just great to hear a different point of view and perspective. David, how about yourself, mate? I mean, it seems a mixed bag from Chelsea fans tonight. I do agree with a big part of what Quest said. Getting into the semi-finals was the objective. That was done. I suppose what some people are concerned about, though, is there are going to be times this season where you have to use some of this squad, and invariably they seem to let you down or play badly, and it could hurt you. So maybe that's in the back of their mind. How did you see tonight?
I was kind of worried we were going to lose. I was very worried we were going to lose when it went 1-1 because they just had all the momentum. I'm really annoyed at EFL because I've lived in Cardiff for the past 5 years, didn't get to go to see Chelsea once. The year I leave is the year that Cardiff Chelsea played each other. Raging. Anyway.
I think you should take that as a message, David. I think you should take that as a message, really, from them.
What's it? Yeah, no, it was just, again, if we have to play at 100% to beat Cardiff, we should be worried.
Mm.
That's kind of the way I'm having to take this game. Like we got through, we didn't play well, we won 3-1. We'll take it. There are still some players who I do not rate who are still playing games and they need to stop playing. I'm looking at Tosin at centre back. Please stop. There's something about him. He might be the worst one-on-one defender I think I've seen at Chelsea in a while. Every time I see him one-on-one, I'm worried. Like it's not good. So I don't want him. Andre Santos, I feel kind of bad because I feel like we don't actually know what his best role is. I feel like we're still struggling with that. Like we don't actually know where he's best suited to play. And I feel like his best position is Caicedo's position, but we're not taking Caicedo out of that role. So it's kind of like finding out where he fits. And I just think when you swap 11 players all at once, you're going to end up with like not the best performance. It's hard to expect all of those guys to go in 100% and play the system as well as the first team guys did. Because if they did play that well, they would be in the first team, but they're not for a reason. I think Quest's thing against Gittens is entirely unfair because without Gittens, we wouldn't have even been here. He literally won the Wolves game. So I think, going out one game and being like, oh, this is exactly why Gittens should be sold and never play for my club again is a bit over the top.
It's not one game.
Let's give it a bit. What do you mean it's not? Again,
it's not one game.
If we want to do again, I'm not doing this because I think all our wingers should be playing better apart from Pedro Neto. If we're going to do the whole, let's look at everything, Gittens currently has 5 assists and 1 goal. That's pretty good output considering how many minutes he's played. If we're going to do that, but I'm not doing that because I have my eyes as well.
I'm not talking about his GA, because if we talk about GA, there's always the argument for both him and Garnacho. As what I'm saying is,
they're both
off the ball too.
Ass, man.
This is what I mean. Like,
if you, I'm gonna let you land, Dave.
Because Quez, I could have come on Sunday or Saturday and said the exact same thing you said about Gittens about Garnacho. So I think it's entirely unfair to do this whole, today's the reason why.
But today's not my reason why. Like I said, I've said this since Leverkusen.
They both had these games. No. I get you can have your opinion, mate. I've been running Gyökeres hates from day one. Hey, I'm not opposed to people having opinions on players, but I just think, in my opinion, I think it's unfair to do it when you're kind of comparing him to a winger of the same sort. But you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying I disagree with it. It's a mid-off. Do you know what I mean? But again, I think they both have potential to get better. And I'm starting to, even though I still don't like him as a player, I'm slightly starting to warm to Garnacho. Slightly. Before I was at a minus 50, now it's at a minus 30. He's still not neutral yet. He's still working, but he is coming up with goals when we need them, and that is important. I can't forget that. And I'm a fair judge of character. So no, I'm not. Hey. I still think he got rid of the blonde locks. That got him 10 points in my book. The blonde. I'll
give you that. Yeah. The blonde locks had to go before he could.
Now he's adding a couple of goals. I'm cool. So yeah,
I hear what you're saying.
It's one of those performances where like we just got to get through it. But I think again, Terry, if you take all of these 11 players, if it wasn't all 11 at once, if you would just put Hato in our first team, probably plays quite well. If you have João Pedro behind Guiu and you play Guiu with the first team, probably looks all right. But when you've got 11 second teamers together, that's where the issues start popping up. So
I guess Terry though, I would, for your birthday present, I wouldn't watch this game again. Just to let you know. Atrocious.
Yeah, no, it's a really, really good point. Yeah, I don't think I would watch it again. To be fair, Elijah, what did you make of tonight? By the way, nice Christmas jumper, mate. I like it. What did you make of tonight's game? What do you want to say?
Well, I mean, we're through to the next round. Am I happy? Yes, I am. But was I impressed with the performance? No, I wasn't, because the first half, Terry, all of our attackers had stinkers. Mark Guru, had the chance to score, but put in the goalkeeper's legs. Gittens did nothing. just everybody had a stinker, everybody in that first half. And you got to give Cardiff credit because in that first half, they were the better team. Defensively, they were better than us. Every time we tried to shoot, they made some really good blocks. So Cardiff were the better team. But in the second half, Enzo Muesca made the changes, on Garnacho, Neto, and João Pedro, and they made an impact. Garnacho could have scored a hat-trick, but he's got a brace, so I'll give him that. Neto scored, 1 goal and 1 assist so far in the last 2 games, so Neto has been good. And João Pedro did have a chance, but at least he gets an assist for Garnacho's second goal. So that's one thing I will say. But there's one player who I did say that he's probably going to start, but I never want to see him starting again, is Tosin. Like, if you look at the goal we conceded, Terry, like, Hato didn't stop the course, and Tosin just stood there and allowed the number 14 to score that free header alongside Gusto. And this is why this guy needs to be gone. Like, sell this guy. Because every time I see him starting, Terry, we always concede. Always concede. The only time he kept a clean sheet was away to Burnley, and that's basically it. Every other game, he just concedes after concedes. So for me, sell this guy and bring in Mark Gray straight away, because we need some experience, man, because Tosin ain't good enough for Chelsea Football Club anymore. He ain't. So, but for me, Terry, we struggled, but many teams struggle against teams in League Two. Like, look at Man United. They struggled against.
Oh, hang on. I'm not letting you take our thunder. That was League Two. This was League One, mate.
Many teams are supposed to beat those teams, but it ain't that easy. So, like Cardiff, after that goal they conceded, they were better. But the last 2 goals, we got the job done. So that's what I'm happy about.
My view on professional football is very much that generally the fitness and the physicality of most established Premier League teams is normally better than the lower levels. But you actually often see, even Premier League teams, how often do you see that the teams that finish about 8th and below, if they rotate for League Cup games, Cardiff knocked out Burnley at Turf Moor, because as soon as they rotate, you drop down to average Championship and League One level players. And that's because most squads, even though they're Premier League teams, aren't as deep as people think. The difference between like the average squad player in the Premier League and a really good League One player is not too dissimilar in all fairness. And it's why after these number 3 goalkeepers, they can get to a decent Premier League club. That's why they stay there for 10 years, because it's like triple the money and they don't have any pressure. So no, I do hear you. And if you're not at the races, you can be caught out. The one thing though, yes, the rotation, I don't think you can rotate this heavy in the semis or in any kind of big game this year. But the one thing Maresca got correct tonight is the opposite to what Slot did when they played Palace. You had options on the bench. That's the first, when I saw you starting 11, I went, oh, chance for Cardiff. Then I looked at the bench and I just laughed, because unless you conceded 3 goals in the first half or something, and then it's hard to pull it back. I looked at the bench and went, when they bring on 5 of them, again, it's different now. It's not like the old days where you can only bring on 3 subs, because you can bring on 5 subs. I looked at that bench and it was like, once all those boys are on, it wouldn't happen. So, but sometimes you still get the shock. So, like Plymouth last year, I know they were a Championship team, but they're almost bottom of League One this year. When they knocked Liverpool out of the FA Cup, you do get these shocks, you do get these moments, and that's one of the reasons I love cup football, because you fight for them.
Terry, the one thing I want to say about Garnacho is that the only thing I will give Garnacho, who I think he's a bit better than Gittens, is that his movement is very good, Terry. Whenever we pass the ball to him, he makes a great one. But the problem with Garnacho is he's finishing and he's dribbling. So I think for me, we need a proper left winger that can do all sorts of things, that knows how to dribble and to finish. Look at Neto. He came on, and he scored the goal. Brilliant finish. Took it for the first time. So I think that's what we need if we want to take up to the next level. So, but yeah, Garnacho did better than Gittens in this game, and the Newcastle game will be very difficult because our record as James Park is really poor. But I just hope that he just sticks to the normal start 11, and if we could get a result against Newcastle, then that would be massive on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, it's that's the big one now for you guys to focus. Is that 12:30 kickoff as well?
Yeah. No way.
I mean, the thing
is why I think he had to make that many changes too.
I'm going to be in bits as well. That's only like 10 hours after my party finishes. So that's going to be
Oh.
that's going to be a painful one for me. I might just still be, and also it's going to be hard because Anthony Joshua fights Jake Paul 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
4 in the morning
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So it's funny because a few of my mates that are coming, they're like, I'm driving because I'm bringing the kids and the missus. I'm like, okay. They're like, I want to drink, but I'm like, I think I'll be happy in the morning that I drove. And yeah, you certainly when you wake up in the morning not having a drink, you don't. Yeah, you definitely feel that way. Super chat here says Arsenal's B team trashed Bruges in the Champions League. Chelsea's B team scraped a win against the League One side. I guess squad talks are done at this point.
Our B team trashed Ajax 5-1. So what
Exactly.
What are we doing? You know what I mean?
Let them have it, man. Let them have it. This is their time when they're on the up, man. You got to get all your punches in while we're weak. You know what I mean? Because if we ever make it back, yo.
Yeah, football. I would never use one example. I just wouldn't. In the sense of Arsenal's A team scraped a win against Wolves as an example, and Man United beat them 4-1. If you do results-based analysis with that level of data, you would say United's first team are better than Arsenal's. They're not.
Shouldn't the fans that say they've got the best squad in the world trash anyone when they say that? So it doesn't matter who plays.
It's funny though. That's also the madder side of it. The greatest club team of all time, which most people put down as that Barca team in 08-09. If you go back to that season, I swear they were knocked out of. They got beat by somebody that season, a really, really crappy team. Every team has those bad days, but we just live in an era now where no one lets anyone off the hook.
We should have knocked them out in the Champions League, but we didn't. So,
mate, do you know that's still one of the biggest football god regrets of my life. The football gods got me. When Iniesta scored that goal, you've got no idea how much I cheered and was happy because my view was if we get Chelsea in back-to-back Champions League finals, I kind of believe in that. My view was there's no way we win 2 in a row. We're not winning. It's like when we played City back-to-back FA Cup finals, no one thought we would win the second one because we weren't as good that season as the year before. But I was convinced. I was like, I just didn't think we were going to lose 2. But yet when we got Barcelona, obviously back then watching Spanish football was a lot harder than it is to watch things now. We were actually the favourites going into that game where I didn't think we would be against you. And I now look back and I'm like, yeah, I so wish you guys didn't get cheated because we probably, looking back with hindsight, we were better than you because I think we were much closer in 08. I think we were actually a better team than you by 09. But anyway, we'll never know. We'll never know. We both got robbed. That's why I look at that game now. It's a disgrace. Happy 40th birthday, Terry. Have a great day. Thank you. Yeah, obviously tomorrow is the big 40th, but I'm still happy. No grays. That's not bad, Not bad. It's not bad, bruv. Why are you all crying? Be objective. 2.58 XG to 0.58, 3-1 win. Everyone rested. You'd think we got battered and fluked a win.
No, I think I'm Chris.
No, I was gonna say I didn't think we were crying, but
no,
hey.
I think we all came with listen. I said it before. I don't really judge performances of cups. Progression is the thing. I just thought some of the guys let themselves down more than us. Yeah, you know what I mean. That's the whole point. This could be hopefully this is a long season for us, and you'd think, especially if we get injuries, I'll be confident some of those guys coming in for a long term. Like say Kukurea gets injured. I thought Hato did okay today, but Hato comes in. Do you know what I mean? It's like
I think as well. I get where logic's coming from here because you should be happy you're through. I don't think your players could rotate the team in the semi-final. Of course. At the same time, I think the way some people look at games like today is, if we get a couple of injuries and got to play a few of these guys regularly, I think people also do a little bit of looking ahead and they look at the squad and they, I've got United fans having a go at me going, you should be happy we're attacking so well at the minute. I'm going, yeah, but we can't keep the ball out the back of the net. So I find it hard to enjoy the attacking football knowing I used to hate watching Amir Khan fight because I always wanted him to win. But that jaw, I was nervous for every second of every round when Amir Khan fights. I'm nervous. I'm a bit like that with Anthony Joshua because I do think he's got a bit of a susceptible chin, and I can't find it. It's not comfortable to watch. So you should be happy you're through. But I get why people have worries. I do.
Say the fight coming up, right? I want to watch it because I want to see Jake Paul get knocked out, but I'm fearful still. Though. Do you know? I'm fearful for him. I don't want to
Same,
see it.
bro.
Do you know what? I always wanted it to be someone like a Canelo who could knock him out, but just knock him out because he's a big bloke, Jake Paul. My fear about this fight is if he gets a punch on him, like the power of the punch that knocked out Ngannou is a giant of a man.
Yeah.
Jake Paul is small and I am worried. But equally, if AJ's hitting him and it looks as hard as he can and he ain't moving him, then I'm starting to wonder what that £50 million is really paying for. Because I can't. Because even with Mike Tyson fought, Mike Tyson was old. I was watching again. Mike Tyson could have thrown so many more punches and he just didn't. And I'm like, I watched him fight a few of the MMA guys as well, Jake Paul, and I was like, they're not throwing punches. They're just standing there. What are they doing? So. Yeah, it's a mad one to me. I'll bring Ches on for a second. We're quite close to the end of the show, but Ches is here. He's got his camera on. Yes, bruv, you all right?
Ches.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. With someone saying.
All good, man. All good.
Yeah.
All good. What did you make of tonight? We've had a mixed bag in the chat tonight. Some people fuming, some people relaxed, some people sort of in between. Where do you sit, Ches?
It's tough one. I don't think we played as bad as everyone's made out. I looked on Twitter and my group chats as well, and people kind of very disappointed in the performance. I feel like in these kind of games, you kind of like ride the storm a bit. I think when they scored their goal, I think that injury happened to the goalkeeper, and I said that's not good for them because Chelsea are actually quite weak. Where we can see goals, we usually concede straight after, and I think that's a mentality thing and a bit of confidence issue sometimes. Karabag, Leeds, so. When that happened, I was like, we could probably get back in the game. It is a League One team. I know they're top of League One, but still. But at the end of the day, you just need to get to the finals. Another trip to Wembley, another semi-final for the manager to get to. So this is more and more experience, hopefully gearing us into getting to those bigger competitions, quote unquote bigger. Because for me, trophies are trophies. But I'm happy to see Garnacho score. And when people cook him for not being a good quality player, I agree to a certain degree. But I saw this at Man United where he would pop up in these competitions, score goals, help you guys get towards finals. And if he can do the same to me, I will not complain. Obviously, in the league, I'd see a better performance, but I need to be objective. If he's helping me get to finals, which we haven't been doing domestically for a while, then I can't complain too much. Lost against Newcastle last year. We missed a lot of chances. Maybe last year would have helped us. This year he did. So on that front, can't complain. But the performance at times, I feel like the style of play Mariska likes to implement in the first half is frustrating to watch because it's very reserved football, quite slow. But at the end of the day, if we were to go gun-ho, get caught in the counter-attack, people would complain either way. They'd be like, why didn't you be more relaxing as teams like Cardiff? So I can't really complain on that front. We took our chances and we get through. I don't know who we got next potentially, but Wembley again, another final from Mariska, like I said prior. So overall, is what it is. Get to the final. Hopefully, you can win it. So up the Chelsea, man. That's just it.
I think it could be our time as well, you know.
Huh?
I think it could be our time as well, you know. We got to the final against Liverpool, lost with the kids. Next year, obviously, Newcastle was written in the stars because we beat them the year before. This season, I'm going, hey, depends on the draw, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mariska does it, man.
Or Arsenal or Palace in the final. Even Palace would be tough. That'll be a really tough game because
I prefer Palace than Arsenal, man.
Mariska's against Glasner is not good.
Like, I'd love a Chelsea Arsenal final. I think because it's you guys obviously the long drought of an English, like a domestic trophy, but then Arteta not having not won a trophy in 5 years. It will be coming up 6 years when the final happens. That it just it gives that final an extra edge in the sense of City have won so many trophies. Newcastle obviously won more. Even Palace have won one recently. Newcastle won one last year. That would be such a nice backdrop. Like, Chelsea, is it another final loss for Chelsea, or is it, does it continue the drought for Arteta? As someone who has no dog in that fight, that'd be a great final. Great final.
It would be. And I just hope on the Newcastle game briefly, because we won't probably speak before then, I just hope that we don't do what we usually do against these away teams, against Anfield, Old Trafford, Brentford Stadium. We just don't turn up against these teams. I need this weekend, no bozo moments, be confident, play the right team, and I think we can actually get a result against Newcastle. I wouldn't mind. I would probably want to win, but a draw, cool, is what it is. But yeah, man, against these Newcastles and stuff, we just seem to not turn up. Don't know what it is, but hopefully this weekend we can continue to win it wrong. I think there's a few wins now with the team. So
I've got a little feeling you'll beat Newcastle as well this weekend. I've got a little
the
feeling.
thing is, head to head, Terry, they're not better than us in any way. I don't think they got any attackers in form better than us. Watermada's not scored.
The ironic thing is, Terry, I would take playing like tonight to just win 1-0 tomorrow weekend.
100%.
Yeah. There are certain games. There are certain games. I was saying that I was working with Olivia today. Obviously, she's a big Chelsea fan. Did her dad play for Chelsea?
What's the surname?
Bazoglu.
Bazoglu.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Someone told me her dad played for Chelsea. I didn't ask her when I was with her today.
Not if he did, it's like
could it have been like a Jason Cundy type player, barely played?
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah. Even I should have asked her. I was with her today, but she we were sort of talking about the United side of things, and I said, as much as I want to see really good attacking football again and improvement at the back, away at Villa, I would take the stinkiest, most pragmatic performance and nicking a 1-0 win, because that's a hard place to go. Like, going Newcastle can be, as you say, if you have a bad performance and win that game, it isn't one to worry about too much. It's when you're playing the teams that you are superior to and you're not performing regularly where the problems are. But I've just got a feeling Newcastle, I really thought they'd have kicked on by now, and they had that win against Everton. I thought, okay, they're starting to, but I thought they were so bad against Sunderland, and I think you guys might nick it. I think you guys. I'm going with it.
We said this before about other teams. We should have beaten them. We just don't do it.
True,
but I think we turn up in big games, man. I think we turn up in big, and this is a big game. If you remember last season, what was it? 2-0, and it was Jackson that really screwed us over. Because I'm pretty sure we were down to 1-0, and then he got the red card.
I thought that game was so
better than them, even with red card. Remember the game? We were better than them.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, you were. No, you
were. James missed a good chance, and then I think, if you remember, to make it 1-1, and then they just scored a deflected goal in the end of the game.
Yeah.
I have a theory when it comes to Newcastle and their supporters. There's certain teams. Man United was always one of them. Liverpool, because of the Isak situation. There's certain teams they're up for playing where I feel like they don't. I mean, rudely, I think they look at Chelsea. Oh, big game, but they're not like they're not got it in. If their fans have it in for you, the atmosphere's up. But if you guys just start well, keep hold of that ball for a bit, you'll nullify the crowds, and you'll beat them
tomorrow. It'll be interesting tomorrow what team he picks for them.
Very true.
You know what I mean? Because their squad is not the biggest in terms of quality wise. Do you know what I mean? And do they want to still retain this trophy? They've got a big game coming up. I'm glad we played today instead of like tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? So
they'll go full strength tomorrow, I reckon.
Nav here said this is exactly what I meant about the quality of the Premier League. Did you watch the Chelsea game? That's exactly what I meant. That example. So he was saying yesterday, Nav, that the Man United Bournemouth game is proof that English footballs are really are low, and he's saying tonight proves it as well.
What?
I mean, my argument is I think League One, League Two, Championship teams now play a much better brand of football than you saw 30 years ago. And it's harder. Equally, I swear I've seen Real Madrid and Barca's in the last few years lose to lower level teams in the
Real Madrid just lost the other week to someone.
Yeah.
I don't think it's unique. Again, I don't think it's unique to England. These things happening.
Didn't Barcelona do 3-0 with Club Brugge the other week?
Yeah,
you know
I mean? This is a very late argument this guy's made. It's very late.
It says here as well, every Premier League team.
You can not rate the Premier League. I don't think it's a higher quality as it has been in previous years. Doesn't mean other leagues are better. I look at the La Liga and I don't think that's any better than our league.
No.
Exactly. Even the Premier League has beaten the teams in La Liga and the Champions League. You look at Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City as well. They beat the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, all these teams. So that just doesn't make any sense to me.
I hear you. The Premier League team is like this. That was my whole argument yesterday. The standard of football in the Premier League is dire, absolutely dire. Passing, shooting, defending in every week in every club.
It's just not true. It's just a broad blanket.
It's just a very lazy argument. It's a vague statement. It's a vague argument. It's just like
Yeah, no, I mean, again, then I would assume that none of the English teams will do anything in Europe then. That's you know.
That Villa
That's
Arsenal
false.
game, that Villa Arsenal game the other week was fantastic. That was a great advert
Yeah,
for football.
yeah.
And that was that. Do you know what I mean? That was, and that Newcastle Sunderland game. Okay, Newcastle didn't play well, but Sunderland were very good. And you know, okay, defenses weren't great last night for you, Terry, but that was still an exciting game for the Newcastle.
Oh, but one of the things I was saying to KJ this morning, one of the things I'm most gutted about from last night is I was gutted that was the Man United game. I wish that was any other two teams that I was watching, because it's horrible when it's your team. But no, I hear it. I just disagree with that argument. I don't think the stand. I mean, even last year, look how bad Spurs and Man United were last year in the Prem. But look what we did in the Europa League. Like the idea that English football, if you want to make an argument that football is its lowest level or overall quality in the last 20, 30 years, there might be a debate of football at large, especially when you look at the Brazil squad and the Italian teams. But the idea that it's English football that's low, I think just specifying English football is a bit off.
Yeah, like everyone else has gone up or something. Have you looked at some of the leagues? I mean, you take Bayern Munich out of the Bundesliga, no one watches Bundesliga.
No, I agree. I agree. Look, boys, thank you all for coming on. I appreciate it. We're back tomorrow morning. I have hot takes with Mark Goldbridge in the morning at 11, and then straight facts in the afternoon with the boys. Yes, I do work on my birthday because I am not 10 years old and I don't need the day off before anybody asks. But hit the like button, please. Make sure you're subscribing, and we're going to see you all again soon. Thank you.
Up the Chelsea, man.